So, Beth Ann, very nice to see you.
Thank you very much.
And Tim, very good to see you.
Thank you, Clay.
And you are doing a tour of the entire state, going to every single
That's right.
treasurer's office, 75 counties?
75 counties throughout the state. We actually launched the tour in our early March, on March the 9th. And our hope was, because of the nature of the Gift to Arkansas 529 College Investing Plan, our hope was to heighten public awareness and to take this initiative, which is not a new program, but the perception is that it is new because the public awareness is not quite at the level that we would love to see it at. There are a lot of families that I believe could benefit from being aware of the college investing plan. So we are just trying to do a good job of getting the word out so that people are educated about it.
Well, on that point, I believe, if I understood correctly, Tim, one of the things you said was this plan has actually been in force, in effect, for some number of years, but it has not been worked. It's just been ignored, and now it's being worked.
Well, I won't say that it has been ignored, but I think the promotional techniques were a bit different and didn't quite see the broad communication across all 75 counties that we're hoping to accomplish this year. So in 2015, that's one of the reasons we have launched a 75 county outreach, specifically visiting with the county treasurer, since it's run through the Arkansas State Treasurer's Office. The way the legislator set it up, it would be housed in the Arkansas Treasurer's Office. So that's why we thought about communicating with all 75 county treasurers. Were you aware of this, Tim, before?
I was not until you brought it up. I've never heard of it.
So we realized that it was not quite as known about as we were hoping. So we just thought we would mobilize our 75 county treasurers if they had time and availability to work on it. And Tim has been very generously enthusiastic about this, and so we're thrilled to be here in Garland County today.
Now this is your full-time employment now with you're the state director of this Arkansas 529 program.
That is correct. That is correct. There is an Arkansas office with 2 people in it, and we are the 2 that are housed in the Arkansas State Treasurer's Office, Treasurer Milligan's office.
Okay. Well, I think the name might sound a little bit cryptic too.
We're hoping to take that
more people than
crypticness
just me. So
away from it. Exactly.
Let me ask you about the 529. That sounds what are people supposed to do to remember that particular number of all the numbers in the world, 529, and what does it mean?
Exactly. Great question, because a little bit of the historical background on this is 529. The moniker 529 came from the fact that in 1986, the United States Congress passed the College Education Savings Plan law, the original legislation at the federal level, which created the college savings accounts. So what they did at that point was they had to actually amend Section 529 of the IRS Code. And so when they did that, they wrote into Section 529 of the IRS Code the language creating and enabling college investing plans across the country. So the moniker stuck.
Okay.
People started referring to them as 529s.
I say that's because the IRS code wasn't quite big enough yet.
And unfortunately much bigger now than it was in 1986, but right. So that is the section in the 529 in the IRS code that allows the creation of the college education fund.
Okay, so these are individual investment plans that parents do on behalf of their children.
That's exactly right.
And they have some tax exempt benefits that are enumerated in Section 529 of the IRS code?
That's perfect. Yes, that's exactly right. When 529, the blanket umbrella coverage of 529 allows for these plans, the growth on these accounts to grow tax-free when used with qualified withdrawals. And a qualified withdrawal is anything, again, that goes, you look at the header in the language of the law, anything expenses that are qualified used toward paying for college, which I want to define college quickly. College is 2-year, 4-year graduate school and trade and vocational school. And I think that the trade and vocational element is a very important focus right now in the state of Arkansas. We're recognizing that our young Arkansans need to be able to develop many different skill sets, and Arkansas 529 funds can also be used to pay for vocational and trade school as well. We don't want people to think it's only limited to 2-year or 4-year colleges.
Well, one thought I would think some parents would have, well, what if I open one of these accounts and build up some money, but then my child does not go to any qualifying school? What happens?
Right, we get that question a lot, and this is, at that point, an account owner has several different options. I always give 2 cautions from the get-go when we're talking about 529s. Number one, remember this little word in the middle, investing. It is a true investing account. If you're not comfortable with an investing account, 529 is not for you. You need to find another saving vehicle for college. But this is a true investing account, the funds of which are managed through Vanguard. So the state of Arkansas does not manage the actual assets. They don't invest the assets. They don't manage the assets. Vanguard is who manages and invests the assets. So that's caution number one. Caution number two is the part that we've already mentioned before, this 529 part. So when you open a 529, you are more or less making an agreement that in exchange for the tax advantaged status that these accounts have, that you're going to use these funds for education. So when that moment happens and that you've had this Arkansas 529 all this time, and let's say your 18-year-old comes to you and decides not to go to college at all, you have several different options. Number one, you may change the designated beneficiary on the account. So if you had been investing that money for child A, and let's say child A decides not to go to college, then you can change child A to child B. So you can change the designated beneficiary from one child to another child or an immediate family member. I think that stretches out even to a cousin. Option number 2 is that you can cash out the account, but you will pay a hit on that. Just at that point, you have taken away the 529 advantage. It's no longer an education account. It's just an actual account. It will be treated as such. Same thing as if you were accessing your retirement account too soon. The federal government will treat this the same way. It will assess a 10% penalty on the earnings of the account, not your contribution, that was already taxed, but on the earnings of the account, a 10% penalty. In addition to that, they will tax the earnings because that had been the benefit all along. You weren't being taxed on those earnings because it was 529 used for college, vocational, or trade school. If you use the money for something other than that, then they will tax the earnings and they will assess a 10% penalty. Third option is to keep the account. Someone right here in Garland County who was a 529 account owner explained a situation, a personal story that he had as an account owner, and asked me to share it with others. He'd had the 529 many years. The 18-year-old son came to him and decided that he did not want to go to college. So the account owner cashed it out, paid the 10% penalty, paid the taxes on the earnings of the account, and gave the money to the son. Fast forward 10 years. The son is now 28 years old, has decided that he would value a college education, but the father cashed out the account. He took the hit, a decade earlier. So the father's caution was, please tell my story to other account owners and let them know they don't have to make a decision right that minute if that child doesn't go to college. That they don't have to make that decision by the end of calendar year. You don't age out of a 529. He said, I could have kept the account. I could have been patient. He said, my goal was for my child to go to college. I didn't really care whether that was 18, 28, 38, or age 48. So you have several different options as an account owner, but we do ask people to think through it on the front end. If you think it's a higher risk that you won't end up using this for education, then don't open one. 529 is not for you.
So 2 things. No time limit whatsoever on using the funds from an account. You could use it for, if not your children, great-grandchildren.
You can even use it for yourself.
Yourself.
If you change the designated beneficiary to yourself, say you're a single mom and you never actually had the opportunity to go to college, or maybe you want to finish your college degree, they allow you to open a 529 for yourself. Let's say that you don't plan to do it today, but it's a dream. You want to do it 5 years from now, 7 years from now. You can open a 529, begin to make contributions, tax deductible at the state level, have the earnings grow tax free, and you're in a much better shape to go to college down the road.
And Beth Ann, these accounts are opened directly with Vanguard? You don't go to your local bank and say, I want to open a 529, because they don't do that.
Yes, directly. That is GIFT. That is the name of the Arkansas plan, Great Investment for Tomorrow. GIFT, it's an acronym. It's the name that they gave to the Arkansas 529. And the beauty of this is that people may go directly either online at arkansas529.org. That's the information at the bottom of your page here. Or they can give us a call at the Arkansas office and we can mail them paper enrollment forms if they're more comfortable with the paper enrollment. We mail those out weekly from the Arkansas office, so we were happy to do that as well.
And so do people need to do their contributions to fund the account by check through the mail, or is there some other way that works?
Couple of different options. Every account owner has a choice of how they want to set this up. They can also change their mind along the process. Old-fashioned check is definitely one of the popular forms that people can do. If you choose old-fashioned check, you can open your 529 with as little as $25 to trigger and activate the account through Vanguard. Send in your $25. That's the last required contribution you will ever have to make. There aren't any penalties if you don't contribute every single month. There's not any stipulation that you have to send in 4 checks a year or any magical number. You own the account. You own it. If you're sending in old-fashioned checks, you decide how often you want to give and how much you want to contribute to your 529. There may be a couple of years you can't give anything. So you don't send anything, there's no penalty. Second option, if you don't want to send in an old-fashioned check, you can enroll in the automatic investment plan. And that goes directly from your bank account. You set it up where your bank account talks directly to 529. And they do have a minimum contribution requirement on that. It is $10 a month. You have to contribute at least $10 to make it worth the processing fees to do that. So that's $10 a month or $30 a quarter. To be able to enroll in the automatic investment plan if you want it just to come straight out of your checking account every month.
No limit on the amount that can be invested in the account?
That depends if you're looking at the tax deductible portion, which again is through the Arkansas component. Not every state offers this, but when Arkansas took up the legislation and passed our companion legislation here in the state well over a decade ago, they wanted to give an additional tax advantage. You know, as I mentioned, if you remember, 529 through the IRS, that allows the earnings on these accounts to grow tax-free. But when the state of Arkansas created it, Arkansas legislators wanted to give another incentive for people to save, so they made it where even your contribution into the account is tax deductible. And so when you give your contribution, you are receiving, you keep up with that. At the end of the year, you turn that in on your taxes and you get a tax deduction off of your adjusted gross income on your state income tax return. The limit on that, to answer your question, was a long way to answer that question. The limit on that is $5,000 per individual or $10,000 per couple per year. Pretty generous tax deductible limits on that. So Arkansas lawmakers wanted to encourage saving for college. They wanted to encourage investing, encourage saving for college, so they did some pretty generous limits on that for Arkansans.
Now, regarding the returns that Vanguard has been able to historically so far yield, I think of Tim, and he's got all kinds of rules and regulations that he has to comply with, so part of the effect of that is pretty small percentage yields on the county's money that he's able to invest on behalf of the market conditions and the rules being what they are. Right, Tim?
Yes, that is correct.
How about Vanguard? How are they doing in the area of return?
Well, for the Arkansas 529, I've been very impressed with Vanguard. That was one of the things I looked at immediately when I assumed this position in January. And like I said, they're listed right here. They're a critical component of the success of this plan is for Vanguard to do a good job. When they initially were chosen as the asset manager for the Gift Arkansas 529, they took the program on, and they were managing about $100 million in managed assets. Now, today, it's $320 million in managed assets. So I will say they are doing an amazing job.
Now they have to do better than about 0.5% or
0.5.
0.85 or something, some,
There's 0.5 money market right now, and then 0.85 for a 5-year CD.
for the county's money. A little better for Vanguard?
So you use them for the county?
Not Vanguard, but,
No, the various
Not
things
using-
he uses.
Oh, the various ones that you use.
well, now, does Vanguard charge a fee for administering?
The way the Arkansas 529, hello, hi, how are y'all doing?
Not bad.
Good.
Sorry. Arkansas Herald.
Oh, great, thank you for being here.
Yeah.
Yeah, Marcy and Smith and
Hi,
Brian
Jen.
Smoke here.
How much?
How you doing?
Hi, how are y'all? I'm Beth Ann, nice to know
Hello.
you. Thank you
My
for being
glasses on,
here.
I
The
can't
tape
see.
is rolling, so
right.
thank
Sorry.
you for being in
It's
here.
all right,
No,
we're,
y'all go
we're,
ahead.
we're nearly done, except,
Right.
do you know any numbers for
Yes,
how they?
you were asked, your specific question were the fees
No, no,
on
well,
this?
Well, he has fees. Go ahead, fees.
Right,
But I
yes,
had
we do
actually
too.
yield that's
We-
been historical so far.
Right, well, and that each year we get the metrics for individual yields per year. The fee structure, I did want to address that. I keep pointing to this on the back of the brochure because that is one of the big questions people want to know. Who pays for this? Who pays for this program? Account owners pay for this program. So this is not subsidized by the state of Arkansas. That's different state by state. So when you're comparing the various 529 plans throughout the country, they are all different because Congress allowed each state to structure their 529 in the manner most appropriate for what the lawmakers felt would best suit that state. So the fees for the Arkansas program are 0.75. So that's 75 basis points, which is 0.75 of 1%. The account owners pay for those fees. The partnership with the state comes through the treasurer's office, where the treasurer by law provides 2 staff people and office space.
Well, have they been earning more than 0.75 so that that's at least a wash?
I can give you those metrics. Yes. Like I said, they've gone from 100 million to 320 million in the 10 years they've managed the assets. So we've been very, very impressed with Vanguard. And of course, we're continuing to try to get the word out about the program so that more Arkansas families can be aware.
Okay, I'm going to try one more time, Beth Ann, because I wasn't talking about the total size of the program, but my money that I invest in this, and I understand that a big part of it is tax free. That's even if there was
Tax
no
advantage, right.
I mean, there's the tax advantage. If there was no return at all, there would still be that advantage. But I mean, does it earn 0.5%, 0.75%?
Right, those were the
over
metrics.
the last. Yeah, I know it's metrics, but over the last few.
I'll look. No, what I'm saying is I will look those up for
Oh,
you
okay.
to be specific.
Okay.
For the question you're
Ballpark.
asking.
Okay.
I don't want to ballpark it. I want to be sure that I've got the accurate statistic to
Okay.
answer that one.
Working for you want to be specific. Very good. Okay. Factual. Okay.
I would prefer that. Yes.
And I respect that. I want you to know how much I respect that. So thank you.
I would prefer to do that.
And,
Yes.
and that may be about all I
Okay, well, and
that's right
the
now.
one of the main things too, and it's in your packet, the second page right here, is that we are wanting to get the word out about a very specific outreach that we're doing between now and July 31st. And this is for the opportunity for citizens in Garland County to actually win a 529. We got this idea from other state 529 plans who have had a tremendous amount of success. Just sort of trying to kickstart the conversation, get people talking about 529s out in the community, and this is an opportunity for individuals to sign up
Okay.
to
So
win a 529. So we would love to get the word out
if
about
I were
that. The
able to
deadline
put that,
is
if
July
I could
31st.
get something written up and was able to put that detail in there that people could
That'd be
send in,
fantastic.
that would be a good
Yes,
thing.
and they can go just straight to our website there that's listed arkansas529.org between now and July 31st. And they have to be 18 to enter because this is a true investing account. They have to be 18 to open an account.
Okay. So they enter by opening an account.
No.
No.
They can enter regardless of whether they have opened an account. If they happen to be chosen as our Garland County winner, we will navigate them through the process.
They just
of
want to go to
opening
this
an
site
account.
and register to win.
Yes.
That's all
yes,
they need to do.
Yes.
Okay.
And I've got an example in here of the entry form. I hope it didn't get let. Oh, here it is. It's the last one in my packet. I'm not sure where it's in your packet. It might be a little out of order. But this is an example of the paper entry form, and I will be leaving some of these with Tim today, and he can make copies and scatter these around and help us get the word out about it. And like I said, our hope is that this kickstarts the conversation and serves as a catalyst for people maybe finding out about a 529 if they don't already know about a 529. We've seen that other states have had a lot of success with a program similar to this, and the Arkansas portion of this that you see in the back is we work to make sure we've honored all the legalities of the 529. We work to make sure we have a clean audit with all of the components every year, and we market it. That's what the legislature designed for the 2 staff people in the Little Rock office to do. And so,
And who's your other person?
Emma Willis. She
That's
probably
what I
called
got the
you.
email from. Okay.
Yes, that's probably. I think that was the name you said you
Yeah.
didn't recognize at first. So that's the other one in the Arkansas office. So there's 2 of us. So we try to cover all the bases and do what we can to promote this. And there's 75 counties, so that's why we wanted to reach out to our county treasurers for them to help multiply our efforts through their capacity and people that they know and their spheres of influence.
And
Well,
so
I think
far,
it's-
anybody I've asked, never heard of it.
They've never heard
so
of
I'm
it.
glad you're doing this.
I know. So
Okay.
we've got our work cut out for us
We'll
a
be on
little
the
bit.
lookout in hotspringsdaily.com.
Okay, we will. Thank you.
Thank
I
you, Becca.
appreciate you being here today. And listen,
And maybe
It might have been-
you could look at arkansasherald.com as well.
there you go.
Because they're right in there, and I think they'll do something, won't you, Brian? Yeah. Okay. And he's got a bigger camera than I got too.
Well, and if you think of any other follow-ups, feel free to shoot me an email or give me a call or call Tim, and we'll visit about it and get back with you any other questions
Okay,
that
it's a
you may
real
have.
pleasure. Thank you, Beth Ann.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Thank you for taking the time to be here today.
Thank you,
I
Beth
appreciate
Ann.
that. Thank you,
Appreciate
Tim.
it. Oh, I guess I'm gonna
appreciate it.
stay here.
Yes, you are going to stay. You are not off the hook yet.